in the kitchen with Chef Ken Hall, the executive chef at the Oneida Casino, and we are talking deviled eggs. They just make me smile, the thought of deviled eggs, you know?
It's one of those foods that everybody loves.
I agree. You grew up with them. They're back on trend now, and I have to be honest with you, I was at a fancy restaurant in the Washington, D.C. area, and they had deviled eggs. In fact, I've seen it now 3 or 4 times. I thought it was weird at the time. Deviled eggs as an appetizer on their appetizer menu, but they weren't, you know, the deviled eggs that I grew up with. They're kind of, you know, fancier deviled eggs are very much on trend.
Right, and it's actually retro because 150 years ago they were in French cuisine the stereotypical appetizer. It was always the precursor to a course. And so they started with them. So what I decided to do was show some different toppings and quirky little ways of naming them. We're doing a Bammer Slammer, we're doing Raging Cajun, we're doing Gator Bait. You know, some of these fun things that you can have some fun with food and get the kids involved, get your friends involved, invite a group over, see what you can come up with.
Yeah.
So the trick though with deviled eggs, no matter what, is you got to learn how to cook eggs. And there are a million different ways to cook eggs, and I've tried them all, and the one that works the best for me, and everybody says this, I start my salted water and bring it to a boil.
That's what I do.
Once it comes to a boil, I take a slotted spoon and I just set them down the side.
Okay.
I set my timer for 12 minutes.
Okay.
I let it boil for 12 minutes. I drain it. I fill it with ice, fill it with cold water, and I let them sit.
Okay, so that's the different way that I do it, but if it works, we'll try Ken's way. So.
And then I always do the fat end first.
Roll it.
And then you roll it, and there's always a little air pocket right there. And then I just roll my thumb around, and usually it'll all come off in one piece. And that's typically what you want.
Perfect. Perfect. We can get rid of that. So this is something, you know, the actual filling, which the filling is going to be pretty standard, which I think is a great idea because the filling is going to appeal to everybody. It's the toppings that are going to get a little wild. I think that is a good idea to stick to a kind of a really nice classic filling for the eggs.
Right. And so
look at that.
you know,
Perfect.
there's no green, there's no gray.
Perfectly cooked.
Your white is not too tough.
And I like the fact that, well, there's nothing worse than cutting into it and they're not done. Then you're, you know, you can't do anything about it. So those are perfect. Now you do this, when we were prepping for this segment, I said, what do you need to mix the deviled eggs? I said, a mixer, and he said, really, I prefer to use a food processor. And I get that right away because I thought that is really what's going to make that filling creamy and not lumpy.
Right, exactly, and that's the trick. But also, with that being said, you can't over mix it in here or it'll separate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it looks like it curdles.
Really? Okay.
Right, and I learned that the hard way because I put it on and I walked away from it. So you don't want to do that.
So egg yolks, real Hellmann's mayonnaise we're using.
And what we're going to start with for the dozen eggs that I've got is we're going to start with about a half a cup.
Okay.
And we're going to see how that works for us. We're going to start a little bit of salt.
Okay.
A little bit of pepper. And then a little Dijon. So we're going to do just maybe a half a teaspoon of the Dijon.
That's exactly what I put in my eggs.
And then we're going to just turn this on, let this spin for a second.
See if you need more mayo.
Right. And we'll stop and we'll kind of bring down the edges a little bit.
When I make deviled eggs, I make way more than needed because they always go. They are the first thing to go at a party. So make sure you've got several dozen. If you're doing it anyway, you might as well just keep that assembly line going, keep boiling, keep peeling them.
And this also makes really quick work of your filling. You just kind of can watch and see that most of your lumps.
Look how gorgeous that is. Now with a mixer, you'd be doing that for a while, and the food processor does a perfect job.
It does it nice and quick, and that's again why I like this particular one, is because it's nice and quick.
Okay.
Now another trick, if you don't happen to have a pastry bag, these are fantastic. You get the heavier duty freezer bags.
Okay.
And what I do is I always fold it over and I hold it this way.
Okay.
So now you've got a handle for it. And we're going to take our filling and we're going to put our filling in here. And the best part about this is you know exactly how much you need to get out of it because every egg needs to be filled. This is all the mix that you get. So it teaches you to be a little more careful and not taste it so much.
The other thing is it looks really pretty and it's neater. It goes very quickly. Whether when you spoon them in, It's just, you know, it's can be kind of messy and drippy all over.
So then what we'll do is we'll just take a pair of scissors and we'll cut the end off.
That's
like
nice.
this.
So no piping bag or tip necessary if you don't have one.
Right, if you don't have one, it's okay.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I've got these cut here. I'm going to move this closer.
Okay.
And just real quickly, I'm going to hold it. And we're just going to do level on here because, again, we want our toppings on here. So now when you start to talk about your toppings, what I've got is I've got my gator bait is smoked salmon and scallion.
Let me get a plate and we can plate some of these up because they are so much fun. Okay, so
Then
smoked salmon. So we'll just put a little piece of smoked salmon on the top?
Yep.
I love smoked salmon. Just a little, like, kind of like
Yep,
that?
just like that.
Okay, nice.
All right, so we'll start with that. Then we've got our Ragin' Cajun. So what I've got is I've got some poached shrimp that I poached with Cajun seasoning.
Ooh.
So we've got a little spice to them. So
Fun.
kind of almost like your Bloody Mary kind of shrimp. So we're going to go like this. And then we've got some celery leaves. So we'll take a little celery leaf and we'll garnish in here with a celery leaf.
Gorgeous.
So we've got this one.
I see bacon. Ken loves his bacon. I do too.
So we're gonna do our hog heaven. That's what I call this one, is hog heaven, because we're gonna put a little bit of a bacon in here, and we're gonna do our bacon over here, and then we've got.
What's this one?
This is for the barbecue pork.
Okay.
Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a barbecue pork here. We're gonna put just a little bit of homemade barbecue sauce on top, and then this is a Tabasco onion. Or a tobacco onion. So what we do is we soak these in buttermilk and seasoning and then flour them. So now you've got a little of that crispy onion on there.
Ooh, more French fried onions from the can would probably also work.
Exactly. It's similar to those durkey style of onions.
How fun. So just a great way to use some leftover pulled pork, put it on a deviled egg.
On a
little
deviled
barbecue
egg.
sauce.
And
wow, I'm just going to keep have you keep loading those up because I think the crew is going to go crazy over these. What fun different twists on
thank
deviled
you.
eggs. Way to take it to a next level and
thank you.
way to have a great conversation at a party. Load up a tray of these and see everybody's favorites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Chef Ken Hall, executive chef at Oneida Casino, and lots of great restaurants and always some fun things going on at the Oneida Casino.